Hi class, this is LMiller reporting back to you with my final phase of the Six Sigma project. To give you a little recap of the problem I chose to tackle was to avoid accumulation of clothes and shoes on the floor of my bedroom. There's a few reasons why I've chosen this particular project. One is that it causes a tripping hazard. Every time I move about my bedroom, chances are high that I would trip over something, and it's just not real easy to get around my bedroom. A second reason is that I found that I start my day with a general feeling of inorganization when I have items on my bedroom floor. So I want to avoid that. I want to start my day fresh and tidy. And finally, I think it would be a good idea to be a better role model for my kids as far as keeping their rooms nice and tidy. So my goal is to put away clothes and shoes in their designated area every day. During my measure phase, I was to create a baseline to figure out what my regular pattern is so that later on in the project I could implement some improvements and then log that data. So I was collecting reasons why I did not put my clothes or shoes away on a calendar, on a basic calendar is how I chose to do this. And as you can see, I had some codes for the reasons. So I tracked for 22 days, and this is a stacked bar chart, and we can see here the biggest reasons why I did not put any clothing away. 11 times for those 22 days, it was because I had laundry or wash that I had done, and I would put them on my bed, not fold everything and put it away. And so I would, when it was time to go to bed, I would put it on the floor, and that cycle would repeat itself over and over again, and really nothing fully ever got put away. Another reason was just I was tired. By the end of the day, I would come home, take off my shoes or change clothes, but I wouldn't put anything away. I would think that I would do it at the end before going to bed, but that wouldn't happen. And finally, lazy. I just wasn't in the mood to do it and didn't make the time to do it. Those are the biggest three categories for the clothing. For shoes, I chose to create a simple Pareto chart. And again, for the 22 days, some of the biggest reasons I didn't put my shoes away is because I was on autopilot. I would come into my room and just kick off my shoes, and they would be on the floor of my bedroom. Didn't really think about it. Second biggest reason is because I would also bring my gym bag in and take out my workout gym shoes and leave them in my room to air out. So that was another pair of shoes that I would have on my floor. And the tired and the lazy kind of overlapped also with the clothing. I would just be tired at the end of the day and just wouldn't put them away. And that sort of correlates with the laziness. Now, I decided to do a process capability on the data that I collected for my measure phase, which I'll explain a little bit later why I chose to do this statistical analysis tool at this point of my project. So with those 22 days of data, my specifications were that I wanted 0 to 1 nonconformities. That would be okay. If I had none or 1, that means only one item, whether it be clothing or shoes, not put away. So my process capability was 9.4266, and my capability index was 0.1061. My CP, capability index, equates to my process not being very flexible because it's less than 1. My tolerance is less than my process capability. Some days, in this case, most days, I'm out of my specification of only having one nonconformity. Now, my capability index plus the process center, which is CPK, was negative 0.4434. So it was less than 0. This means that my average is outside of the specification limit. So I wasn't doing too good here. I was consistently not meeting my my specs. Again, I already mentioned this. My summary was my CP capability index was less than 1, and my CPK was less than 0. So what I decided to do was to create a cause and effect, to really dig a little deeper to the reasons, to look beyond the reasons of why I wasn't putting things away. So with both categories, shoes and clothing, these were the most common reasons. I was on autopilot, I was tired, the laundry wasn't getting put away, or that I was lazy. So what were the reasons behind tired? I was literally physically exhausted by the end of the day, and I was waiting until the end of the day to put these items away. So that wasn't happening very often. On autopilot, I really had no intentional thought of even putting these items away. And also there wasn't a visual available container in the area that I needed it to be. So that was also contributing to me not even putting any thought on it. I just leave it where it was. Being lazy, I saw that I already had items on the floor. So mentally, psychologically, I would think, what's the point? And not even have a desire to do that. And for the laundry, what was happening, I found, was I really would wait to do laundry on one day. So I would have one marathon wash day. And for me, apparently, that's too many clothes to put away at one time. I don't fold them all and put them all away at the same time. So this cause and effect diagram really allowed me to figure out some improvement ideas that allowed me to avoid these problem areas. So during the improvement phase, this was an opportunity for me to implement my my ideas. And these I would log between October 23rd and November 19th. I would analyze how I was doing with these improvement ideas that I was implementing, and then I would modify anything I needed to, and then continue logging my data between November 27th and December the 6th. So what I decided to implement to avoid the autopilot problem was to purchase storage bins that I strategically placed in my bedroom against the wall. As I immediately entered my room, they would be visually apparent. It was a constant reminder that I needed to put clothes, that I had not had a place to put clothes away, but that I also needed to put clothes away. So this was for my clothing, it was a 3-compartment laundry hamper. One was for clothes that were obviously dirty and needed to be washed again. One was for items that I didn't have time to put away, and they were also very lightly used and could be used again. And then the third compartment was for towels and that sort of a thing, the towels and sheets. So I purchased that for my main floor area. And then I also purchased for my shoes a bin to place outside for my gym shoes. And then for my closet, I purchased a bin for my work shoes. And so this allowed me to separate my shoes that I did not wear very regularly with the ones that I used every day. So it made it more convenient and just easier for me to access what I needed. To overcome me being physically tired at the end of the day, what I decided to do was to put away items immediately upon removing them from my body. And what I mean by that is that the moment that I walked into my room after coming home from work, if I took off a sweater, I put that sweater away. If I took off my shoe, I put it in the bin that it needed to be. Whether it be my shoe from my gym bag, that shoe would go outside in the outside bin, or my work shoe would go into my work shoe bin. So that would avoid me having to just place it and then put it away at the end of the day, at night, right before I was going to go to bed, because I was just way too tired at that point. So I would take this approach to avoid the physically tired reason. And for the laundry marathon, what I decided to do was to break my laundry days into 2 to 3 days a week instead of one major day. Although this is not environmentally friendly, it really worked for me to be able to tackle the folding and putting away with smaller bunches. And finally, for overcoming the lazy reason, what happened here, it was more of a psychological improvement, because when I saw that the 3 reasons above were working and I was regularly not having items on my floor, clothes or shoes, it sort of made me just motivated to continue my efforts because they were working. So during my analyze, what I had to do was analyze my measure phase, my baseline. And let me explain to you really quickly why I had to use this data. I used my data from the measure phase because after I implemented my improvements, I had 100% success implementing my improvements, so I didn't have any data to show you at that point. It was all, I had 0 nonconformities, so my charts would not be very useful looking at because I didn't have any data. So what you're seeing here on the top chart, I chose to use a C chart because my subgroup was the same. Every day it was just one day, one day, one day. There was no variability on that. And I counted total non-conformities. I combined shoes and clothes. If any one of those items was not put away, I counted each reasoning. So it was total nonconformities on each of the 22 days. So you can see here that I was consistently nonconforming for the whole 22 days of the measure phase. So after I implemented those ideas then my improvement phase, I had 0 nonconformities. And my improvement phase was logged for 28 days. In conclusion, I had total improvement, an uncluttered space in my bedroom, 0 shoes and 0 clothing on my bedroom floor. The Six Sigma process facilitated success for me. And I hope to continue my habit of putting away my clothes and my shoes. Thank you.